If you're over 60, this might be the most important video you'll watch today, maybe even this year. Because here's the truth. Your body often whispers before it screams. And when it comes to strokes, those whispers can mean the difference between full recovery and life-altering damage. As someone in your golden years, you've learned to live with a few aches and forgetful moments. But what if I told you that some of those small things, like feeling a little dizzy, slurring a word, or seeing double for a few seconds, could actually be early signs your brain is in trouble? Most people think strokes happen out of the blue. But that's not true. In most cases, your body gives you a warning. We just haven't been taught how to hear it. That's why I made this video for you. Because you deserve to know what those warnings look like, the subtle signs, the ones people often ignore, and you deserve the chance to protect your memory, your movement, your independence, before it's too late. So here's what I'm asking. If you're over 60, watch this to the end. If you've ever experienced even one of these signs, leave a comment below and tell us. You might help someone else recognize their own symptoms. And if you care about your health and want more tips like this, subscribe to Health 365 and turn on notifications. We're here for you every week. Now, let's walk through the 8 early warning signs of a stroke, starting with the most overlooked one of all. One of the most common but most overlooked early signs of a stroke: sudden dizziness or loss of balance. Have you ever stood up and suddenly felt like the floor was moving beneath you? Maybe your legs didn't feel steady, or you had to grab onto furniture just to stay upright. It might have passed after a while, and you told yourself, "Maybe I just need water," or "I must be tired." But here's the truth, my friend. When you're over 60, this kind of sudden, unexplained dizziness could be something much more serious. Many seniors think it's dehydration, low blood sugar, or just part of getting older. But when the cerebellum, the part of your brain that controls balance, isn't getting enough blood flow, it can cause this strange dizziness, stumbling, or even a sudden fall to one side. And here's what's really dangerous. It doesn't get better when you sit or lie down. It doesn't feel like regular tiredness. It feels off, unsettling, and your body knows something's wrong. Please, if you ever feel this kind of dizziness out of nowhere, especially if it's paired with blurry vision, nausea, or a heavy head, don't wait. Don't lie down to rest it off. Call for help right away. The earlier you act, the more of your brain you can protect. I've seen far too many people ignore this sign, and by the time they act, it's too late. So here's a small favor. If you've ever felt sudden dizziness like this, share your experience in the comments. Your story could help someone else take action before it's too late. And now, let's move to the next early sign of a stroke, one that can show up quietly in your vision, long before anyone realizes what's really happening. Have you ever looked up and noticed that the world suddenly looked fuzzy? Maybe things were blurry, or doubled, or it felt like you were looking through a foggy window. Perhaps you saw black spots or tunnel vision. One eye might go dark, or both might stop focusing the way they should. Many older adults assume this is just part of aging. I probably need new glasses, you might think. But here's the key difference. Normal vision changes come slowly over time. Stroke-related vision problems happen fast. Sudden blurry or double vision, especially if it appears out of nowhere, can be one of the earliest signs of a stroke. Not because your eyes are failing, but because the part of your brain that processes vision isn't getting enough oxygen. When blood flow is disrupted, your brain can't make sense of what your eyes are seeing. Sometimes it lasts just a few seconds, sometimes longer. But even if it goes away quickly, it could mean your brain just experienced a mini stroke, also known as a TIA. And here's the scary part. TIAs are often followed by a major stroke within days. So please, don't ignore it. If your vision suddenly changes, even if it clears up, call for help right away. That moment of hesitation could cost you your independence or your life. And if something like this has ever happened to you, even once, share it in the comments. Your story might help someone else recognize the danger in time. Next, we're going to look at a stroke sign that's not about what you see, but what you understand and how you communicate. Let's talk about confusion and trouble with speech. Have you ever been in the middle of a conversation and suddenly the words just don't come out right? Maybe you knew exactly what you wanted to say, but it came out jumbled. Or maybe you were listening to someone else, and their words just didn't seem to make sense, like your brain was trying to catch up but couldn't. That's not simple forgetfulness. That's not just a senior moment. It could be your brain's language center misfiring, and that's a serious red flag for a stroke. This kind of symptom is called aphasia. It happens when a stroke affects the left side of your brain, the area that helps you understand language and form clear sentences. For many older adults, this can be one of the most frightening signs, especially because you may still be aware something is wrong. You might feel frustrated, embarrassed, or even try to brush it off. Maybe I'm just tired, you tell yourself. But if this confusion comes on suddenly, without warning, you must act fast. Here's what to watch for. Trouble understanding what others are saying. Struggling to speak a full sentence. Saying the wrong words or forgetting common ones. Feeling like your brain is stuck, even though you're trying. If this happens, don't wait to see if it gets better. Even if it lasts just a few minutes, it could be the start of a stroke or a mini stroke. And time is everything when it comes to protecting your brain. Have you or someone you know ever had a moment like this? Share it in the comments. It might help another senior recognize the warning in time. Coming up next, a stroke sign that doesn't just affect what you say. It affects what you can physically do, especially on one side of your body. Let's talk about something most of us take for granted. Our speech. Because when your words suddenly change, your brain might be trying to get your attention. Have you ever tried to say something simple, like your name or a sentence, and it came out slow, slurred, or just plain wrong? Maybe your mouth didn't move the way it should, or your tongue felt thick. You knew what you wanted to say, but the words just wouldn't come out right. This is one of the most well-known signs of a stroke. But sadly, it's still often missed, especially in the early moments. Many seniors think, maybe I'm just tired, or I didn't drink enough water today. And while those things can affect speech slightly, stroke-related slurring comes on suddenly and feels different. It can happen even if everything else feels fine. Your mind might still be sharp, but your mouth can't keep up. That's because a stroke can affect the muscles that control how you speak, not just your thoughts. Here's a simple way to test it. Try saying your full name out loud. Then say a clear sentence like, "Today is a beautiful day." If your speech sounds off, if it's slow, jumbled, or not your usual voice, don't ignore it. Even if it clears up after a few minutes, that doesn't mean you're in the clear. It could have been a mini stroke, and the next one might not be so small. So please, if this has ever happened to you, even once, talk to your doctor. And if you're comfortable, share your experience in the comments. Someone else might hear your story and realize they need to get help too. Next, we're going to look at another powerful sign, one that affects your strength, your grip, and your ability to move. It often shows up on just one side of your body. Let's talk about it. A stroke sign that's hard to ignore, but still often misunderstood. Sudden weakness or numbness on one side of your body. Imagine reaching for a cup of water, and suddenly your arm feels heavy. Or you try to stand up, but one leg won't cooperate. Maybe your hand feels numb, or your grip suddenly isn't there. It's a strange feeling, like part of your body has stopped listening to your brain. If this ever happens to you, especially if it comes on suddenly, don't try to shake it off. Don't assume you just slept on it wrong, or that it'll go away after a stretch. This is your brain asking for help. You see, when a stroke blocks blood flow to the part of the brain that controls movement, signals can't reach your muscles. That's why your arm won't lift, why your leg drags, or why one side of your face or hand goes numb. It's not just weakness, it's disconnection. And it's one of the clearest signs that a stroke may be happening. Here's a quick way to test yourself. Raise both arms straight in front of you. Can you hold them both up evenly? If one arm slowly drifts down or feels too weak to lift, call emergency services immediately. Even if the feeling goes away after a few minutes, it could still be a mini stroke. And that's your warning. A bigger one may be coming soon. Time is critical. Acting fast can prevent long-term damage and protect your ability to walk, hold things, even speak. And if this has ever happened to you, even briefly, I hope you'll share your story in the comments. It might give someone else the courage to act faster next time. Next, let's move to another sign that often goes hand in hand with this one. About something most people blame on age. But sometimes it's your brain sounding the alarm. Sudden clumsiness or trouble walking. Have you ever been walking across the room and, out of nowhere, your leg feels strange, like it's heavier than usual? Maybe you trip over nothing, feel wobbly, or notice one foot dragging just a little. It's easy to tell yourself, "I'm just getting older," or "Maybe my shoes are the problem." But here's the key difference. If the clumsiness comes on suddenly, especially if you felt fine the day before, it's not just age. It could be the beginning of a stroke. When blood flow to the brain is even slightly disrupted, the part that controls movement and coordination can't do its job. That's why some seniors describe this as their body not listening, or walking feeling off, like their legs have forgotten what to do. It's not always dramatic. It might not be a fall, but it's enough to make you feel unsteady, uncertain, or hesitant with every step. Please don't ignore this. If your body suddenly feels clumsy, especially if it happens with other signs like dizziness, slurred speech, or a drooping face, call for help right away. Don't try to walk it off. Don't lie down and wait. Because if a stroke is beginning, every second counts, and early treatment could be the difference between recovery and long-term disability. Have you ever had an episode like this, where walking felt strange or your balance gave out without warning? If so, share it in the comments. Your story might help someone realize they need to act fast. Next, we'll talk about a sign that's loud, sharp, and terrifying. A sudden, severe headache that feels unlike anything you've ever had before. Have you ever felt a headache so intense, so sharp, that it hit you like a thunderclap? Not a dull ache that creeps in slowly, but one that comes out of nowhere, all at once, and feels like the worst headache of your life? If you have, don't ignore it, especially if you're not someone who normally gets headaches. This kind of sudden, intense pain could be a sign of a hemorrhagic stroke, which happens when a blood vessel in your brain bursts and causes bleeding. It's a medical emergency, and it can get worse by the minute. You might also feel nauseous, confused, have a stiff neck, or even blurred vision. Some people think they're just stressed, dehydrated, or overtired. But this is not a normal headache. This is your brain begging for help. The most dangerous mistake you can make is to take a pain pill and lie down, hoping it will pass. Because when bleeding happens inside the brain, every second counts. Waiting too long can mean permanent damage, or worse. So here's what I want you to remember. If a headache comes on suddenly and feels different than any you've had before, call emergency services immediately. Don't wait, and don't second-guess yourself. Even if it turns out not to be a stroke, it's far better to be safe, because your brain doesn't get second chances. Have you or someone you know ever had a worst headache that turned out to be something serious? Share in the comments. It could help someone else act faster. Next, we'll talk about the most visible and urgent sign of all, something you can see in the mirror. A drooping face or uneven smile. One of the clearest, most urgent signs of a stroke, and one you might be able to spot just by looking in the mirror: facial drooping or an uneven smile. Have you ever looked at your reflection and noticed your smile just didn't look right? Maybe one side of your mouth didn't lift. Maybe your cheek felt heavy, or your eyelid seemed to droop just a little more than usual. It might feel like something minor, something that will pass, but this is one of the biggest red flags your brain can give you. When a stroke affects the part of the brain that controls facial muscles, it causes weakness, usually on just one side. That's why your smile may suddenly look uneven. One side moves, the other stays still. One eye looks wide open, the other seems to sag. It might come with other signs, like slurred speech, arm weakness, or trouble walking, or it might appear on its own. Either way, this is your brain screaming for help. Please don't wait to see if it goes away. Don't lie down. Call 911 or emergency services immediately. Here's a simple test you can do right now. Look in the mirror and smile. Raise both arms. Say a simple sentence aloud. Can you smile evenly? Do both arms stay up? Do your words sound normal? If the answer to any of those is no, act fast. A stroke steals brain cells by the second. The sooner you get help, the more you can recover. Even if the symptoms disappear after a few minutes, it could have been a mini-stroke, TIA, and those are often the warning signs of a major stroke ahead. Have you or someone close to you ever experienced this? Please share your story in the comments. You might help someone recognize the same sign in time. Now that we've covered all 8 early stroke signs, let's talk about what you can do next to protect your memory, your independence, and possibly even your life. Now you know the 8 early warning signs of a stroke. Signs that don't always shout, but often whisper. And when you're over 60, those whispers matter more than ever. If you ever feel dizzy, notice your speech slurring, lose strength on one side, or see your smile droop. Don't wait. Call for help. Even if it passes, it could be your one warning before something much worse. Remember, the sooner you act, the more of your brain you can protect. Stroke doesn't always come with pain. Sometimes it just comes quietly and suddenly. So please, keep these signs in mind. Watch this video again if you need to. Share it with someone you care about. You might just save a life. If this video helped you, leave a comment below. Even just a thank you helps others feel seen. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Health 365 for more simple, honest tips to protect your health and independence as you age. Take care, stay alert, and always listen when your body speaks.